Hello, hello. It's your host, two incredibly anxious women approaching 40, here to claim our audacity by being the ultimate sayers of truth and judging your social behavior with Adrienne and Amy.
Or to be judged.
Back, back, back.
Episode
Wait,
two.
no, I have my case update. That's right.
Oh, give it to
Yes.
us.
Okay. This hit me in the gut. This is why. This is quick, but back in 2007, that's right when I was graduating high school, first year on my own. Okay, 18-year-old Anita Cutson, sorry girl, who was found stabbed to death in her apartment in North Dakota. The crime went unsolved for 15 years until 2022 when her former roommate Nicole Rice was finally arrested after
No.
witnesses came forward saying she had confessed.
What?
Yes. Okay. So,
It's usually not a woman.
no. And imagine, okay, so I was like, imagine killing your roommate and then just living life and like having that stress. And it really put things in perspective for me that my life's not that bad, you
I'm so
know?
sorry. I'm just like you're talking about the killer, right? Not like, oh, this woman got killed, stabbed to death by her
All
roommate.
right, yeah, I should have started with that, but my story would have been over. Our story would be done.
No, you're right. You're right, girl. You're right. No, that's crazy.
Dang.
Wonder.
I did jump to that, didn't I?
But I guess it's like, what do you think happened that made her finally like confess? Like what changed?
Okay, so that you have to know more of the story, but she didn't actually, she was drunk and she just like
Idiot.
confessed to a friend, like a
Idiot.
fool, and then denied it. So, spoiler alert, the case has finished. I watched it, not guilty.
No shit. You're
Yes.
kidding. Even though we know she did it, like, right? Do we have a motive?
Actually, me who ultimate sayer of truth, I will say, like, I'm not as completely
Okay.
convinced on her guilt as I've been on others. I think
Okay.
she probably did. So they were fighting. She like hated her. They hated each other. I mean, Anita unplugged her fish tank
Oh, shit.
because it
He
was like
killed
really
her
loud.
fish?
Yeah, yeah.
Ripley, did you hear that?
Which is not, I mean, to be fair, I think, the defendant is like
Totally.
definitely in the fault.
Yeah, yeah. She's the asshole here.
For sure. For sure.
I mean,
And
unplugging a person's fish tank is diabolical. Surely they're just fish, but I mean, some people can get really into fish.
and do you think she was like, "Oh, I'll just say I didn't think it would kill him. I just thought it would turn off the lights."
I mean,
You
did she maybe think that it wouldn't kill them? Was she that?
I think that's something I would think. And it
Yeah.
wasn't a day and age where you could just type, figure that out.
Right.
Ask
Right.
Siri,
Right.
don't, or.
She does that to me too. She does that to me. But she usually does it when I say sorry to someone because it comes out
You should
as
change the name.
I should change the name
We
because then
should all. I think you can
we can
create
all
your
change the
own
name.
and come up with something like amazingly cool that no one else uses. Like say our
Like
truth.
her truth. Oh,
SOT.
SOT, baby. Stop, baby. So she was not guilty.
And the eruption of the defense attorneys in her, one, they were huddling like they were a football team saying a prayer, which I've never seen. Uh, two, they screamed and jumped up and down, these grown men attorneys, and high-fived the
Honestly,
family.
attorneys are the worst.
Oh, I so disagree.
Oh, I dislike. But then again, I have you know,
You are one.
exactly. I've been around so
There's
many.
that self-deprecation
Yeah, there it is.
again.
There it is. There it is.
Whatever I become, I'm gonna hate. I mean,
What is
I
that thing
think that
from?
they're just one. they're smart off the bat. For me, it's like, okay, you can read and you can
I love that.
formulate an
Read.
opinion. Dude, low bar in
Yeah,
America
that's
these
low bar.
days.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Do you know that kids are graduating from high school without reading an entire like a
Yes.
book from cover to cover?
Oh,
Like that like they said that they're just like they just read the notes about it. I mean, sure, I did that too for some stuff, but that was because I feel like we had like so many books we had to read. Like,
that's the crux of, I think, this day and age. Now, I feel I would have never read a book,
yeah.
knowing that I could get the
Yeah,
summary. Why would I
right.
do that?
Right. Well, and now
And
I'm actually reading more now than I have in a long time, just like novels even, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
so maybe you're doing it more from like a meditation standpoint, like a
Yeah.
relaxation.
Yeah. And like
I
if it's
cannot
a
sit
story.
down and do that.
Yeah.
But I love the content consuming.
Mm,
Just have to all the time. But
gotta do.
I mean, you don't think of something 5 seconds in, like, okay, I gotta do that. But I mean, I'll come back to this book. I can't get through a page.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know what you mean. Like I feel guilty if I'm just sitting and watching something on TV. Like if I'm not doing something while I'm watching television,
Yes.
then I feel if I just sit down and watch TV, I feel like such a waste of space. I'm like, oh
Stretching
my,
is the best excuse.
like,
Stretching
I
and
do,
walk.
I do stretch in front of the television for sure.
I'm always like, well, I'll stretch. Oh,
And then I'm
so
doing something.
productive.
So
Done.
productive. So true. Oh my God.
Yes. I
Exactly.
felt even, I mean, my productive is skewed sometimes. I felt productive for also posting a story on Instagram at the same time
That's productive.
because I'm like overcoming that, um, you know, self hatred.
Right. Self-loathing. Self-loathing is the real mind killer.
It really is. But I'm learning to disregard that because history shows I have been right time and time again.
Time and time again.
I am the Sarah truth teller.
Tale is all
You just haven't been ready to hear it if you disagreed.
people just
Okay,
if you disagree, you're not paying attention.
that's right. That's right. Or you can't read or refuse to read.
More likely, you just can't read.
But that's like, oh my God, people can't see their other argument or see other people's arguments. They're just fixated, even if you put the facts in front of them. So
Mhm.
that really the truth doesn't matter anymore. Reading really doesn't matter anymore. And so I think the high school kids are okay.
Yeah, they're gonna be just fine. You don't need to
Yeah.
read. It's reading actually might even be a weakness nowadays.
I mean, they probably get bullied. Like, you,
Oh, what you read?
what? You read the whole book?
You read that entire book? Nerd.
You know what I did in high school? Sophomore year, AP English, saw the syllabus, had, five of probably wonderful novels I would have loved on
Mhm.
it, but I saw their percentage of, the yearly total, and I think it was 2% of the grade. And it would have taken a whole summer, and we didn't have the summaries, okay?
Yeah, right. I mean,
So
there was
I
notes, but you had to
didn't
think.
read them.
Yeah.
Just had to walk in, and my teacher asked, and I was like,
What?
no, I said, I hope I said, like, listen, I hope this is a great lesson in percentages of your syllabus.
Because that's not compelling. You did not compel me with the percentage.
It failed. And she was like,
This is actually a failure on your part and the
right.
edge.
And I'm really happy I was able to present it to you in such a just
I'm glad you learned this
blunt
lesson.
way.
I'm glad I was able to teach you this valuable lesson. I mean, I love that.
Yes. But
Respect as
I
a
think she
fellow teacher.
assumed like I just was procrastinating and I was going to do it.
Ah,
And that's when we conflicted a little bit about like, no, you don't understand. Like your syllabus is done. It's 2%. We're moving on.
Late. It's too late. We're moving on.
Speaking of moving on, we have to move to our second session, which will
Excellent
open it
segue.
up with your
Yeah,
pick this week.
let's do it.
Wait, we're only 30, we're not, no.
We only
Yeah,
have 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes left in this Zoom room.
that's right. That's right. It's giving me this warning too early.
I love that we cobbled this together. You know,
Absolutely. I mean, I'm sure it looks like so professional. People probably have no idea,
it's totally
but
like totally seamless.
oh, yes. Okay. Kick it off, girlfriend. Let me hear
Okay,
it.
let's do it. Okay.
Let
Oh
me
wait.
stretch so I feel
So
productive.
this week's Amy's pick for this week. Am I the asshole for moving to be closer to my grandkids? This is kind of a long one, so hang in there with me. Okay. The original poster says, I have 3 kids with my ex-husband, Elliot, who's 28, Emily, who's 21, and Joseph, who's 19. Emily and Joseph still live at home while they attend the local state university. 3 years ago, Elliot, the eldest, and that's how we can remember Elliot, eldest,
Got it.
um, married his high school girlfriend, Madeline, and they have 3 beautiful little girls. Sophie, who is 12, is Madeline's half sister, and Madeline and Elliot adopted her 3 years ago. They also have 18-month-old twin girls, Charlotte and Penelope, and they're pregnant with their first son. Just a crop of babies happening over here. Um, last year, Madeline and Elliot moved from their apartment down the street from me to a house about 3 hours away for Elliot's job. I try to visit them at least 2 weekends a month, and I just love where they live. It's an adorable little quiet beach town. I've been thinking about retiring there since Elliot and Madeline moved down there, but I made the decision after I found out Madeline and Elliot are having another baby. I put in an offer on a little cottage on the beach, a 10-minute walk to Elliot and Madeline's house. My offer was accepted, so I decided to sit Emily and Joseph down to tell them my plan. So this is her other 2 kids. I told them that I would be selling the house this summer, the house that these 2 kids live in, and moving closer to Elliot and Madeline for an early retirement. I didn't want them to struggle to find a place to live, so I told them I will rent an apartment for them to share for 3 years or until Joseph graduates, whichever comes first. Neither will pay rent or any other expenses besides part of their groceries as long as they're still in school. I thought they would be okay with this, but they're furious. Joseph is saying that I'm choosing Elliot and my grandkids over them, and Emily is claiming that I'm misusing their child support their dad agreed to pay until they graduate from college because I won't get a good apartment. I'm getting them a simple 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom apartment in good condition close to their school instead of a luxury 2 bed, 2 bath with access to pools, a gym, and other nice amenities. I told her she's welcome to pay her tuition and living expenses on the $850 a month I get from her dad, and now she and Joseph won't speak to me. Elliot is suggesting that I could have given them more notice and talked to them about this before I bought the house, but I thought 3 months was plenty of time. Am I the asshole for moving to be closer to Elliot, Madeline, and my grandchildren?
So layered.
So many layers here. What is your let's do an initial gut check. What's your initial gut reaction to that?
Well, it wavered throughout.
Oh, I love this.
I
Say
got
more.
fixated on different things. Let me
Okay.
recap, make sure I have this right. The 3 kids,
Yep.
oldest is Elliot. He
Yep.
married his high school sweetheart. They've got like 3 kids, and I
A
just
thousand,
stopped
3,000.
listening after
Yeah,
all
yeah,
the
right,
kids.
right,
Okay.
right.
And he seems like pretty well established,
Yeah.
and he's farther away, like a move. Then she's got 2 other kids, 21, Emily is the girl,
Yes.
and 19, Joseph.
Yep.
Okay. And so they're 2 years apart and like way younger than Elliot.
Yeah.
And then ex-husband, right?
Yeah.
And it didn't say when they divorced.
No, it just
Okay.
the only thing we know about him is that he's still paying child support for them until they're out of college, like $850 a
And
month.
she doesn't seem to be like withholding any of that.
No.
And she's like, okay, transferring it. So, all right, my first gut instinct was the mom's toxicity. I was like, did she put an offer down before talking to Elliot
Oh,
about moving there? Like, it
that's a good
never,
question. I didn't.
like
I
his
didn't.
boundaries. I don't know if
That's
he
true.
wants that. And then because all
Intended.
I heard next was like, Then I sat them down. Now she was talking about her
Yeah.
two young, entitled, terrible children.
Yeah, yeah, right, right.
But I understood after I found out about them, I go, oh, this poor woman. She
Mhm.
had to put that offer down. So they couldn't talk her out of
Out
it.
of going. Mm.
So I obviously think she's not the asshole, but I want to check her and make sure she's because she doesn't maybe understand what healthy relationship with her children are because of
Mhm.
the youngest two that, Elliot's cool with that.
Yeah. So your biggest thing in terms of whether or not she's an asshole is she respecting being respectful of boundaries with the eldest son, Elliot, and his
Yeah.
family? Mhm.
Yes, everything else
You're
done.
like, these kids are, you're like, no way.
What the?
Say
Okay, it is gonna cut us off.
it's gonna get us off. We'll see you in a second.
So
Zoom to
just
the
like it.
room.
It's fine. Okay, now I want to hear your thoughts, Miss.
So here's what I'm thinking. Because I do have a tendency to think like they're all adults at this point. Like
Barely. Yeah.
barely, but they are adults. And it's not like she's, I mean, I guess like they're living in that house and she didn't really say anything except for like, you're gonna have to move. But they're gonna have their place paid for. I think that if I were going to be upset with her about anything, it would be the way she handled communicating it, even though I think your point is well taken that it seems like if she hadn't done that, then the kids would be like, no, you can't leave. You can't do that. We're not gonna
Yeah.
like whatever. Um, but I think certainly the gripe about like they don't like the apartment that they're getting. They don't think that the apartment that they're
That was
getting is
just a
enough. It's
sign to
like,
me.
yeah. I wonder, it makes me wonder what the relationship is with amongst the siblings because it certainly feels like there's like a golden child, right?
Yeah, yes, we definitely, this is need more information too. Guys, come
Yeah, this could need
on,
more
give us
information.
novels. But I wonder, wait, she just picked out the apartment for them?
Well, that's the thing. It sounds like she just picked it out,
See, I
which,
love questioning my own opinions. I just jumped. That's and
yeah,
3 months
we're
notice, and we don't know if they knew it all. That was
right.
her shoot.
Well, and this is like I'm looking in the comments because
Oh
I
yeah.
am
What did
interested.
I
Like I'd
say?
like to see like some because people have some takes that I haven't even considered. But so like this is one that said you're the asshole. It says, gee, I wonder why your children who live with you are shocked. People get so about it in the comments. Anyway, okay.
I love it. I love
I
questioning my own,
well,
you
and
know.
I just love the just like self-righteousness in the am I the asshole threads. Like people are crazy.
Too
Okay.
many people think they're the sayers of truth around
That's right.
here.
That's right. Little do they know they're
They don't
not.
have that title.
They don't have that title. That title is taken. Gee, I wonder why your children who live with you are shocked that you sold the house and are moving 3 hours away without having mentioned to them at any point until it was a fait accompli. You are
Yeah.
choosing your eldest and grandchildren above them. Maybe not the first time, I imagine. You sure like burning bridges, but as long as your needs are met, you're the asshole. Damn. I mean, that's a little, I think that person, it feels to me like maybe is doing some transference from their relationship with their own parent.
Which is exactly what I did. I assumed that I believed her that her children were the problem, even though
Mm,
she never said that.
mm.
And
Well, her children do sound a little problematic based on the way that she, you know.
what I guess I'm thinking, like, I didn't think about the other alternate universe that what if it was like a really dangerous apartment and I don't know, and Elliot doesn't want her there,
Right?
and she's just
Somebody did
like
bring that up too.
crazy. I don't know. I think, but she would have if she. She should have mentioned if they were toxic children and she's had issues in
Right.
the past, and she didn't mention that. So, God,
Right. Well, this, so here's a not the asshole though. Not the asshole. Not sure why you're getting so much grief. Most kids don't live at home during college and you're not even making them pay for housing. Maybe you could have mentioned that you were thinking of moving earlier, but you're not required to. Also, why on earth would a 19-year-old and a 21-year-old prefer living with mom to living in a free apartment without mom? Enjoy the beach cottage with your grandkids.
so layered. And now I'm
It's
back. I'm like a ping pong right now. I kind of hate that because I really like to be decisive on my opinion. But also, this is, have they mentioned this? Like, where's daddy?
yeah, right.
Why is
Really.
daddy never at
Never
fault?
around. Never at
Ever.
fault.
He
Never.
doesn't
Yeah,
even
that's right.
have a freaking house for them to go to. Well,
Yeah.
maybe he does, but they don't. Like, why isn't, I think fathers are given like 25% at most of
Right.
the emotional labor.
Right.
At most.
Yeah. Oh,
In
if that's, and
hetero.
I think 25% is being generous.
That's so
You know,
gen it's really
it's probably like 10 per
5.
90 10 or a 95 5. It's probably what it is.
And if it's 90-10, like 5% is for their wife.
Yeah, that's right. Honestly, dudes are the worst. Can we disagree?
I mean,
Sorry
I
to our
don't want
audience
to
who is
agree.
not any dudes, probably.
I like to just say they're just not on the caliber of women, you
Yeah,
know?
there you go. There you go. And that's just too high of a standard to, we're setting them up for failure to.
It's apples and oranges, baby.
No, it's like apples and then like really, really good apples that are delicious. Mealy apples and delicious
Yeah.
apples.
The apples like that come at the airport, like
Yeah,
or the gas station.
the
You
gas station apples.
would never.
Versus picking one directly from the tree.
Oh
Mm.
my God, fuck that snake, you know?
Fuck that snake.
Like even the gaslighting of
Yeah,
men, it really goes to the beginning of time with that.
it
Like
does.
they were setting men up to blame women.
From the jump. From the jump. Always just look at the woman. She's the one.
Yep,
She's the one.
give it to Jesus. Well, I mean, I'm gonna get told I'm wrong.
Oh, God. Okay, so what are we saying about her? Are we saying she's the asshole? She's not the asshole, or everyone's the asshole, or no one's the asshole? Because those are the other options as well.
I think everyone's got to be the asshole here.
Yeah,
Here's why. Here's why.
yeah. Tell me, lay it on me.
There's dysfunction going on, and no one's like really explaining or
Mm,
speaking up. Like Elliot,
right,
I don't know, is jumping in. Like she's not giving enough information. The children wouldn't, if she was toxic, wouldn't they want to get away from her? Like,
right.
it's just, and definitely the dad's an asshole.
The dad is clearly the biggest asshole of all,
Right.
and
Like,
the invisible non-present dad. I
I,
will
yeah,
say there is some additional information. I just am now seeing what someone asked the original poster
I
if he
love
would
when they
discuss.
respond.
You said what?
I love when the OP gets back in.
I know, because you're like, there's never enough info. There's
Right.
never enough info. So this person asked if you had discussed this with them prior to purchasing the house closer to Elliot and they voiced their disagreement, what would you have done? And she said, I still would have moved.
But that was never like I don't think that they're allowed to have any say on where she moves. Just like she's not
Right.
allowed any say on where they move
Right.
because
Like there's
they're
some
all
assumptions.
adults.
Right. There's some assumptions baked into a lot of these people's like what you're saying, like the assumption where people are like taking that the fact that she's saying she would still, because then somebody said, so you'll move because of your eldest kid, like you are picking your eldest over your other two. And her response was, I didn't move because Elliot wants me to. I love the area that he moved to. It just worked out. And I guess there is like an assumption baked in that because she's their mother, she should be like doing things in a different way. But again, the dad is nowhere to be seen. The dad is nowhere to be found. The dad is nowhere to be heard from. He's allowed to go off and do whatever he's wanting to do, probably banging someone half his age. You know what I mean?
And
And
taking in the kids are probably like, Daddy, like he's
yeah,
the best.
yeah, yeah,
He
totally.
can do no wrong. And she's like over here like punching bag. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
she's okay, think about it. I guess she is what, a grandmother, retired. Where do we think she wants to live? In the city with her like college
They're 19 and
age
20, like,
party kids? She's
or
like
on a beach cottage.
with her grandkids being helpful, being, that having
Right,
that fulfillment. And
right.
I don't think it's as much about her other son, her eldest son, as it is the grandkids.
Yeah.
And
And I mean,
maybe
living
I'm
on a beach.
assuming I
She
would
said she had a,
understand that.
yeah, yeah. I think everyone is the asshole with her being a little less of the asshole. But I do think she did handle it strangely.
She could work on how she handles things, but then I go back to my, you know, one of the original thoughts of she is probably so damaged by these people of like bossing her around that she's just like,
She's like, you know what? I'm out.
I'm out. I'm going to
I'm
secretly put
out.
this offer down. I'm going to have my
Yeah.
little bag packed in the
And I am
corner
out of here.
and I'm going to tell them, yeah. And three
Yeah,
months
I
is
can feel that.
generous.
3 months is not like, oh, tomorrow you're moving out. Like you
And
have
she
like
could have been
3 months.
like, y'all need to figure it out. I
She could
mean,
have literally been like, you guys figure it out. Literally. That would have been a way bigger asshole move. But you know.
yeah. But
It's
I do empathize with them a little bit of you are in a transition period at that point in your life. I'm such a millennial talking now. But you'd still like it's disorienting when your family home is uprooted at that time. Maybe this is more trauma speaking. But like, like it's nice to feel like you can go back home from college and have
you have a
that.
home base. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they are, and maybe they're reacting poorly instead of saying like, maybe there's no emotional, openness to say like, it just makes me sad. It was already really hard when you and dad got divorced, and now
Ah,
you're really kind of like severing that ultimate tie and just
that's
kind
a
of
good insight.
throwing us in an apartment that we
Because
had
it's
no
probably
say
about
in,
other
like you
things.
don't care.
Yeah, it's probably their like what seemingly overreaction probably has to do with other things. They're bringing other things into this. Like this is probably not the first time that they've, like you're saying, that's a really good insight, Adrian.
It's always, it's
It's
something
never as
else.
simple as it. Yeah, it's always something else. Okay, so we've decided kind of that everyone is the asshole a little bit here. Um,
What did the ultimate Reddit say?
what do how do they do that? Do they have like a decision?
I had to figure this out. At the top in the flare.
Oh, they don't have any flair on this one.
Okay. Some don't. I think if they're archived of some sort.
So this one says, I don't know. I'm seeing like a lot of poorly handled golden child syndrome, but then
This
paying for
poor
3 years to
oldest
clean them up.
child.
Yeah,
How he is getting so dragged and
yeah,
he's done nothing.
yeah, like,
I feel for him the most, although I've dragged him too.
yeah. Well, but he's not, he's just, I
He's
mean,
living his life. He
who
moved
knows?
away.
Yeah, he moved away. He moved away. And then I don't know why people are
Check
jumping to
on
golden child
Elliot.
stuff here when the most obvious answer is that an older woman would much rather spend her time with her young grandchildren in a beach town than cook and clean and house her adult children that are likely going to interact with her less and less as they mature even more. Literally
Did
took
I
the word
not did I not say that?
took the words out.
Yes. That's why
Took
I
the words
do
out.
love Reddit. Oh my God, by the way, I may have a support group going on in Reddit.
I love that.
Sisters.
No way. That's good.
Yeah.
That's really
Yes.
cool.
With
That
people
is
with like beautiful insight. Like I've never that have gone through the same exact thing. It's
that's
just like
wonderful.
crazy. Yeah. Reddit's a beautiful. This is a shout out to Reddit
Shout out
where
Reddit.
everyone is the asshole, but a lot of people have
Where
great insight.
Yeah, I mean, it's like probably the coolest place on the internet. I mean, it's like very.
I was always so hesitant at first
Yeah.
because I was like, I bet it's so filled with spam. But then there's
Mm.
so many people where I'm like, oh, smart. That's real.
That's
This is real stuff. Keep the spam out, y'all.
keep it out. All right, so are we going to move on to Adrian's pick of the week?
Let's do it. All right.
I'm ready when
Um, oh, I did leave my validating the shit out of OP last week comment. So, but all right, we've got Am I the asshole for creating a list of topics of conversation that are off limits for when my son visits us?
Interesting.
Okay. The OP is 55. She said, my husband, 60, and our son, 30, have complete different political views and opinions, and both of them are stubborn. So every time our son visits us or we visit him, they end up arguing about politics. I find this situation annoying because I only see our son every few months and I would like to enjoy the time we spend together as family instead of being left on the side while he argues with his dad about topics they would never see eye to eye anyway. My son is coming to visit us this weekend, so I made a list of topics that are off limits for when he is over at our house and made clear to both my husband and son that I don't want to hear a word about any of the topics in the list. My son agreed to this easily. My
Okay.
husband didn't.
Oh.
He says that I'm restricting his freedom of speech.
Okay.
We got into an argument about it, and his stance is that he has the right to say whatever he wants under his roof. And if our son doesn't like it, then he doesn't need to visit.
Wow.
My stance is that this is my house too, and I
Yeah.
want my son to keep visiting us without every visit ending up in an argument with his dad. I don't feel like avoiding political and controversial topics is too much to ask, but I want an external opinion. Love that for you.
Love that.
Am I the asshole?
No. This is there's a clear asshole in this situation. And that asshole is the dad. How are you going to First of all, I think that he certainly when he said, okay, this isn't the government trying to shut down your speech, sir. This isn't ICE, like what is actually happening right now, where people are getting disappeared off the street for even just voicing an opinion in support of Palestine. That is what we call in the biz a violation of your First Amendment rights. But what you're doing is what your wife is asking you to do is not. You are a child. You are a man child. You need to get over yourself. Why are you trying to like prove something to your son? Like all you're
I
doing
think
is
he hates them both.
yes, it sounds like it. All you're doing is proving to all of us that you're the asshole.
Yep.
For sure, 1,000 million. And notice that the son agreed to it, quickly agreed to it.
Yep. Yep.
It's that generation doesn't want to, they care more about being right
Yes.
than anything
I figured out
else.
because this may relate to other people in this generation that it destabilizes their sense of self when their child, in this case
Yeah,
his
yeah.
son, who he obviously grew up thinking was going to be just like him, think just like him. And when he doesn't, and when he proves that he may be wrong by his son's intelligence telling
Yeah,
him, you know,
yeah.
that's threatening. That you can't handle that.
Yeah. I mean, they're like the white hot sun at the center of their own universes. Do you know what I mean? Like you don't care how it's making anybody else feel, how it's disrupting any type of but look, I have a pretty good guess of which side each of these people is on.
But back to, yeah, I know you do, and you are right.
Yeah.
But the sad part to me, the most insidious part is not him, not the dad. It's that we've all just keep allowing this.
Oh yeah. Well,
That's
and there's like
okay.
I
So
feel
he
like
knows that. So he's not going to change.
Well, and like so it's just such but it's such behavior that screams like I'm the most important person in the world. And
Because that snake told me.
yes, give me a fucking
All
break.
goes
And
back to
there's
that.
something that's so I think and it is more of like I don't want to say it's a man thing because Helen, my mom kind of has a tendency sometimes to be like, I think I could see her being like, no, I'm not gonna I can see my dad being like, I will agree not to talk about certain topics, and my mom being like, no, if you don't want to hear
It's not
my
all gender roles.
part, yeah, because I do think Helen, there's something about that's like almost like having a different opinion is like an insult to them.
Yes, yes.
Like,
Because it's an
you know,
insult to their image, their perfect family image that we all think of.
yeah,
Like you're threatening because you're being an individual, not being a part of
right.
this
Well, and
family system.
and I want to be like, not everything is about y'all. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like when I have a thought in my head about a particular issue, I don't have that thought like tethered
Against.
to my mother. Like
Right.
have it like in the world that I'm experiencing, I will have a thought. And then it'll be like, and I don't want to pick on her because she has gotten like much better, but like, and I was a little shithead for a really long time. So I want to acknowledge that too. But like,
Mm-mm, don't talk like
certainly,
that about my friend.
I love you.
And she
I
was the
love you.
adult, you were the child.
Certainly too, like I guess it feels like so offensive to like like this is about like this is a specific like outrage against you personally somehow.
Right. Like,
Which
can I
is
not
like
just have this conversation and feel this way and like
and
it
that's another
just
good
be
point.
respected?
Is why can't we just have a conversation? That's another really good point. Is I think that we haven't been shown how to have a conversation that has different opinions without it turning into an argument,
Yes.
a fight. Like, why?
How to have a natural debate and
Yeah,
to that can come away with respect. I
right.
often say this with my family, and this is exactly why I picked this
Hmm.
post because I initially was bringing my bias in and was like, mom's the asshole very incorrectly because I'm triggered by people suppressing what you can
Ah,
talk about
sure.
because
That makes sense to me too.
I thought, my family has the no politics, no religion,
Mhm.
no none of that talk.
Right,
And okay, that's for them. To me, that says we can't talk about anything really interesting to you
right.
or like that is a
More
lot of
important.
my identity
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
you know
No, and I think you're making a really good point now, which is, and this is like some white people shit, is I think we talked
Mhm.
about last week about prioritizing peace over like actually having difficult conversations. But I think that
That's
there's
dysfunction.
that's dysfunction.
It's
And the reality is
passivity.
like it's easier for me to want to prioritize peace, right? Than like call my my family members out if they're say something that's like fucking coded racist, right?
Right.
But like you should do that, right? Like
That's
as a
suppressing your emotions,
well, and
though.
it's suppressing the right
Yes.
thing. It's
Yes.
like, no, you don't, you should feel uncomfortable if you're having ideas that are fucked up. Like
Right.
I want to make you feel uncomfortable because what you're saying is like actively harming people. So, I mean, that's another layer, right, of the thing is that like,
God, there was another great post that would have been so relevant to that about a
really,
little woman wanting to have a Zoom dinner party and have no politics talked about that
mm,
I debate because I mean, but I would never say freedom of speech.
yeah, right, right. Well, but because that's number one. That's just honestly, that's embarrassing for somebody to say that for them because they
To
don't
their wife?
understand what they're talking about. Like they
No.
don't even have like the most basic understanding of the First Amendment. If you're really going to be like, that's not the way it works, sir.
I loved the comments, like clearly calling. I mean, the comments were freaking raw, like amazing, just uh tearing down that dear father. But they were like,
What?
wonder which side each one is
Yeah,
on.
right. Yeah, right. Yeah, obviously. Because I think that's
Misuse
another
too.
thing is that like there's a lack of, generally speaking, and painting people with a broad brush, but there's a generally speaking a lack of openness to be self-critical or have any sort of critical thinking about your own opinions. And that is really on one side more than it is on the other side.
It's playing out right now, and I don't want to go deep in that, but it just describes what happened with the
Yeah.
signal messages
Oh my God.
and accountability, and just instead of when something like outrageous happens, instead
Right.
of saying we
Right.
messed up, like
Right. They
we all
double
make mistakes, this was a big one, I'm sorry, and then moving, everyone would move on. It's like, no, we're gonna double down and make this about y'all.
Yeah, like what? What are you talking about? Like if this were to happen in any sort of like whatever the one-to-one comparable would be in like the private sector, people would be fired immediately.
Benghazi? Anyone?
I mean, seriously.
Bad at emails?
But his but his
What?
but her emails. But her emails.
So, how do you actually, this is a good war for me because this is psychological warfare.
Mm,
This is, they are, it's going outside and seeing and feeling it's raining and someone standing next to you and saying,
right.
it's beautiful out here. What a
Right. What are you
sunny
talking about?
day.
It's not raining. Yeah, that's crazy.
And
And
you're like,
that's the ultimate gaslighting, what we are talking about.
ultimate gaslighting. And we're not misusing it.
No, no, no. It's an appropriate use of the term. Okay, so with all the stuff that's happening at Signal, I keep thinking about like back when I was still working at the law firm. I don't know how this happened, but I somehow put like a random number on a text thread that I had with my friends, Micah and Trey. You know all of them, right?
Yes.
So it was us, and I swear to God, I thought it was like one of our mutual friends that I just didn't have their number, but it was like a totally random number. Like I do not know how it happened. And I went into great detail one day about how I sharded at work. Like in the most like Amy fashion, like disgusting details like that you don't want to know. And then
Oh,
somebody is like, who is this other number on the phone? And the person responds and is like, I don't know how I got here, but I'm leaving now.
I think they were going to say, but I'm never leaving.
But I'm here to stay.
Here for the content.
Here for
Add
the
me.
content.
So what you're saying is context can get sucked into your conversations. Fuck.
God. Except
I'm
for,
sorry. I'm
I,
sorry, Republicans.
I was talking about a very embarrassing personal mishap versus literal war.
I mean, it is teaching me, like, it's the audacity,
Oh
right?
yeah, so much
Of
capacity.
why do I ever hold myself accountable?
Or
Like,
at least
it's
like why do you doubt? Like why do we doubt ourselves when
why
there are people out here who are
saying it's
just
not raining.
showing their ass and not giving a fuck?
No,
Like they don't care about lying, they don't care about misdirection, they don't care. They don't care.
because they have, this is, it's the repeating your word, or just like, I don't know, I guess it is just gaslighting, but anything we say is, they just make into mockery, or like
Yeah.
it's not a big deal. I realized this when I saw a post of like, here's the hill liberals will die on: trans kids, ban books, all the list. And it's like, no, it's because you guys fucking brought this up. We
Right. You're
weren't
the one
talking
that's
about it.
dying.
That's
You're the
gaslighting.
one that's dying on the hill. It's not
Right.
us. It's y'all. Y'all are the ones
Stop
that are
bringing me on this goddamn hill. Like, I didn't,
totally dragging me up to this fucking hill.
dragging me up to the hill to fight. And I'm like,
And
y'all
then yell.
can't even
and
can't
then
read.
yelling
Y'all
at
cannot
you,
read.
and then yelling at you that you're the reason that you're
Yeah.
on the hill.
Yes.
No, no, you brought me here.
You came up here to die. I know you did.
So
I
I,
know.
you,
Meanwhile, you're handcuffed,
right?
gagged.
How did we even get here? Where are we?
Like, I didn't know any of this was a problem.
Yeah,
None of
right.
it was. You're making it. So
Um,
that's the fight we're fighting, and it's
so
insanity.
do you know that so this is a good example of what we're talking about. There are more children who now have measles or people who now have measles than there are trans athletes trying to compete in high school sports. There are more people with with measles. Just so it just like doesn't even make they do such a good job of like taking something
What
that
is
is
this called? What is this term?
what is it?
Because it is gaslighting, but I just call it insanity.
Yeah.
But there's something better,
Like moral panic. It's like it's I don't know, it's some crazy.
psychological warfare.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
and it's
mean,
misdirection. It's like look over here so you won't
yes,
see what we're doing over here. But it's like I don't know. Yeah. Have you seen the JD
it
Vance?
works.
Have you seen
It's
the JD Vance
working.
memes?
The what?
The JD Vance memes where they make him, I'm gonna start sending them to you. They
Please.
make they make him like really big and like I just have to send them to you. They're hilarious and it's
Gotta
like
start
horrendously
targeting people's
awkward.
insecurities.
Yes. Honestly, I mean,
Psychological warfare. Trump is so easy with that
oh,
too.
he's so easy. That painting that like you know he's he hates of himself.
Like, he
Ugh.
hates that more than someone saying something bad about the presidency, or like,
Oh,
I
for
just,
sure.
I mean, the
He cares much more, which is so funny because I'm like, bro, do you have any mirrors at your house? Like, you are not an attractive person. So, like,
oh,
I-
he doesn't think that.
which
He
is
thinks
so,
he's very attractive.
how? Like, do you
Okay,
have,
you're done. You would not stick around him because he only keeps people around him that
that's right.
say that.
That's right. He's the Emperor's New Clothes. It's the Emperor's New Clothes where he's just
He's
walking
the
around and
ultimate
everybody,
narcissist. I mean,
everybody's
he
just
is.
telling him he's doing a great job and he's the biggest and the best
So
ever.
now he has all of these either terrible people
Oh my God.
around him, or they're just enablers that are also
I was
terrible.
about to say, yeah, there's definitely terrible. That part is definitely true.
In the running our country. And the saddest part, and the part I have to remind myself every day, is there's no vindication for us.
No.
There's no day that everyone's gonna turn and say, I'm really sorry we fucked up.
Oh,
Like,
and that's and trying to wait for that. Like
is
that's such a good point. It's
hopeless.
folly. You're gonna be waiting. We would be waiting for the rest of our lives.
Yep.
We would be completely miserable and unsatisfied. We cannot expect there, like you're saying, there to be a realization of like, oh yeah, we should have done that, or this was wrong. There might be on some sort of like cosmic, like higher scale. Because I was saying this to Eric the other day, like Benjamin Netanyahu, I think eventually will be talked about like Hitler. I really think so because he is just like bombed to
Depends
smithereens
who's writing the history.
babies. Well, that's true. But like bombed to smithereens babies, like the average age for like I mean it's like more children have been killed in
And this is
Gaza.
happening right now.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
I love that. I think the white American theme is, oh, I'll wait for the documentary.
God. And even then, and that's the thing is it's like it's happening right now.
Right now.
Like it's
That's what
happening.
I say about the Karen retrial. And I know you only
Is it
watched
happening right now?
the second trial is starting on the first, bitch.
What? I did not know this.
Yes. So I want you to just watch how corrupt the
Uh-huh.
legal proceedings are. Just
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Just that. And one side and bias the judges and just look at the rulings, just the
Okay.
objections. Like,
So do you think she's going to get found guilty this time?
I think the fix is absolutely in, and it's scary.
I do see that she has a bunch of supporters.
Yeah, but it
That doesn't
including
matter in the courtroom. That doesn't matter in the
no.
courtroom.
It
Yeah.
doesn't matter when the fix is in
Well, and
with
that's
the
true.
prosecutor, with the judge, with the people
Yeah.
handling the
Yeah,
jurors.
that's
There's
right.
so many claws in there
That's
that are
terrible.
all interconnected to this small town
Right.
that it's, you
Well,
know,
the other
and
piece
then
is
they
like,
get antagonistic because she does have supporters, right?
right.
So
That makes
you might be thinking, how could all of these people frame this woman? Well, when she did get supporters, a lot of them were antagonistic, and now it's easy to be like, well, fuck her. Like she's being a little bitch and fighting back.
right. Well, and the other piece though for me is like people have to remember, I mean, it isn't how it actually happens in the real world, which is terrifying, but like supposedly under the law, the criminal um burden of proof is the highest under the law. Like you have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt
Saw
that
that
it's
in our court case update.
yes, well that like this person committed this crime. From what I've seen, there's reasonable doubt all over the place. And like
All
it's not
over.
on her to prove that she didn't do it. It's
Right.
on her to show that they haven't proved beyond a reasonable doubt that she did. And we should all be terrified if we have a system that doesn't work that way because
That's the sentiment. That is why I got involved in like following it because it doesn't matter to me like if she is actually guilty, which I don't think she is, but
right.
what they're allowing in the
Oh yeah,
courtroom is
that's right.
corruption.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And we're just I can't have I mean I can't have people saying I'll wait for the documentary. I mean, even that
Yeah.
documentary like I didn't like it because unless you're walking away like angry and ready to it doesn't portray it right. I don't know.
No, I think well, and my thing is literally we could totally do just conversations about these court cases, I think too.
Oh,
But literally the butt dials alone are enough for me. I'm like, y'all are lying.
y'all
There is
are
no way that
yeah.
you do butt dials back and forth and back and forth. It doesn't work like that. That's not how a butt dial. And this is coming from a professional, tried and true butt dialer. I butt dialed somebody a couple weeks ago. I'm 40 years
You
old.
have to leave
And
the
I know
voicemail. How
you
do you do 19 of those? That would
no,
take
no,
hours.
no.
And
And
she lied up there on stand.
they butt dialed you back.
So many fucking butt dials.
Like the butt dials are crazy. So honestly, the butt
There's
dials and
too much of that to where you go, these people, they're involved.
yeah,
They,
yeah.
why are they all
Something-
lying?
And that one guy destroyed his phone, like took his SIM card out and like give
Normal
me a break. Does
people.
that? Nobody does that. When I get a new phone, am I going in and am I destroying this one and breaking
No,
up? Absolutely not. That shows that you have something to hide. And to me, just the butt dials and the destroying the phone is enough for me to say you
Amy,
have.
there are at least a dozen more of those things.
I
I
mean,
promise you.
that's crazy.
There is oh God. They did they in the documentary they talk about the inverted video?
Yes, they did talk about the inverted video.
And
And
there's so much discovery violations or like all of
I think if you have
they're
discovery
still giving over
violations,
information. That's why it's so corrupt. It just
yeah,
not even like
terrible.
people that actually for whatever dumb fucking reason believe she's guilty.
Right.
They should be appalled by
Right.
one, the investigation, and
Oh,
two, what is happening and has been happening in the courtroom. We
right.
can't allow this. I think Homegirl Rice was guilty pretty
Mhm.
much, but I would never have convicted her because they didn't prove to me
Right.
beyond a
Well,
reasonable doubt.
that's their responsibility. They have to do that. We cannot.
Yes, to
Well,
put
okay,
the
so here's
burden on a
another thing.
juror.
Here's the other thing that what was it? That was like so it was the inverted video, but it was something else. Fuck. Where I was like, his injuries. Like
That's where a lot of people go.
the
Okay.
injuries like are not like even whoever the person that was doing the death certificate, the coroner was like, I've never seen a pedestrian hit
The
Like
medical examiner
the
said it
medical
wasn't
examiner.
consistent with
I've
a
never seen.
pedestrian accident. That was, and that's usually the prosecutors, one of their star
Right.
witnesses, right?
That's right. That's exactly right. But if you like, if they aren't even able to say with any sort of certainty that it was even a murder, and looking at and for her to say she was up on that stand and she was like, it's inconsistent with
Could have been.
any pedestrian versus
You know, they're
car
not
that
going to
I've
call her.
seen.
They're not going to call her.
Well, the defense has got to call her.
Yes. But that just shows you like how blatant, like they don't care
Right.
that that's
They don't care about the
obvious.
truth. They just
Did
care